What's up, everybody? How's it going today? So, are we stupid to have smart homes? I didn't really know how else to start the video. I've been thinking about this for a week or two now. Read an article a while back about this, and the idea that by basically making our homes smart, if you will, that we're dumbing ourselves down and becoming quite lazy. And so I'd like to kind of bridge the gap between the old ways and the new ways and try to, I guess come up with what are the most important aspects of technology that are actually helping us. So an example is our smartphones. It's something we totally overlook when we think about a smart home, but they are completely interconnected. Most of us have them connected to our home routers. The networking systems we have within our houses from the computers themselves are one thing, but now we're starting to add on other components like smart refrigerators, smart microwaves. I'll admit, about a year ago I bought the first TV I'd bought in a long time, and of course it just crapped out on me after just over a year, and there's no warranty, of course. Don't ever buy a Vizio, those things suck. So anyhow, it was a SmartCast TV, which for me is wonderful. If I'm on YouTube and I see a video I want to watch, you can just hit the little cast button, cast it right up to the television. That helps. It does, but is it really necessary? No, of course not. I could still link it up a different way, but since we use our phones for so much, then it makes sense to be able to, extend that and cast it. But let's get into something like a smart refrigerator or microwave, which, even to the point where they might be able to lock you out or lock themselves at a certain point. If you could program a refrigerator to say lock at certain hours of the day, the potential for hacking through any system or viruses within a system is just, to me, enough to keep me away from most things. But not only that, but we have everything that's, every device that's made, every single smart appliance, from your, the refrigerators. They've got smart doorbells now, with built-in cameras that you can monitor from far away. Home security systems, which are wired into the internet. And just think about that. If you're putting cameras up in your home, and you wire that up to the internet, no matter how good your, security is, you still have the potential to wonder, am I being watched? And, growing up, I was warned about these things, rather. Reading a lot of books from people who were saying the future of technology, our own devices are going to be spying on us. And I was well aware of it from the time before their smartphones existed, back when cell phones were just a flip phone. Even back then, I was careful about what I texted. Even from the first time I started texting, and still, to this day, people are like, hey, be careful what you text if you're talking about certain things, just to be safe, right? And generally, I'm a pretty average dude. I don't have any secrets or anything. So, but it's just a matter of privacy issues, I think it comes down to. But it's not just privacy. A lot of people would say, hey, fine, you want to spy on me? Go ahead, I'm not doing anything wrong. Let the government spy on me, let hackers spy, whatever, But it's not just about people watching, because honestly, there are too many people to watch everyone. The algorithms might look for certain behaviors online, or certain codes within text, which would then alert a certain agency, hey, this person's talking about this or doing this. But there's so many people, and for the most part, we lead pretty mundane lives. So I'm not necessarily worried about my own private information as far as the government monitoring it, but it's a matter of, if I incorporate too much, technology into my life and become dependent on it, then what happens when it fails? So, above and beyond any spying or hacking that might go on, how bad could we set ourselves up for failure if a major, say, virus hits a network that takes down, say, locks everybody out of the refrigerators? Seems like a pretty simple, thing that, no big deal. Hey, it's just a refrigerator, but if you need to get your food out, that could cause you a problem. It could be frustrating at the very least. But I guess I focused on the refrigerators because honestly, I don't really know. I know that, okay, smart heating systems for your house. thermostats, you know, supposedly they're selling you on the idea that, hey, it actually saves you energy over the year. You know, your house is smart, you can adjust it from, you know, on the road, oh, forgot to turn the heat down. But how often does that really happen? And how freaking lazy really is it that we want to just control everything from our phone in our own houses? And that's another thing. I mean, I haven't had a remote control for my TV, you know, in years. I even have to get up to change the volume and such. It's, I don't know. There's a lot of things that do make our lives easier, but I think at a point it just becomes laziness, you know? I don't know what to think about putting technology in your home, but I'll tell you this much. I would never have an internet-connected door lock. And people do. They have locks that you can undo from, you know, remotely, or, oh, I forgot to lock my door. Is the idea that you can, if you forgot to lock your door, the idea that you can lock it remotely, is that really worth the potential that somebody could walk up with a device and just unlock your door? Not only that, with the right technology in the future, let's say, someone could sit outside of someone's house with in their van and say, oh, here's a house, let's tap into their router and see what we got. Oh, I can see the cameras, I can see what's going on in the house, I can unlock the doors. And think about the smart cars. I've seen several shows where people will, they'll hire a hacker, like for a news show or something, and have him try to lock somebody out of their own car, like using the OnStar thing. And the idea that your cars are even spying on you, that your insurance companies can know how fast you drive, how quickly you brake, and they sell it as, oh, well, this will give you reduced insurance rates if you're a safe driver. But just put it this way, I think about 1984, you know, George Orwell, that book. It's really funny because as I was growing up, I remember reading that and then hearing people referring to, you know, this totalitarian regime, that we're moving into this, you know, this future where the government is monitoring us and there's nothing we can do about it and we have to comply. I think that the thing that we've failed to realize is, although that's happening, nobody's forcing us to put these devices in our homes. We're doing it willingly. We're choosing to. You know, in 1984, there were these cameras, I think they were mounted in or under the TVs, that constantly watched your behavior. And I thought about that, you know, just, we're choosing to put cameras in our own homes. We're choosing to tap into the internet to control all of our devices because we think it's going to help us, which is understandable. But right now, this is starting to take off. I mean, I walked into Fred Meyer a year ago, which is one of the grocery stores here. And there were maybe just a few little devices on the side, you know, little like wireless monitors and Bluetooth, you know, security systems. And I walked in the other day and it was just an entire row of just smart this, smart that. And I thought, you know, I guess that's up to the individual, you know, but I don't see it as being necessary. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Those are my thoughts on it. Regardless of whether we're doing anything wrong or not, we still should feel safe and feel that we have a little bit of privacy in our lives. But maybe not everybody else feels that way, and that's fine with me. I can only live my life, do it my way. I guess there is another aspect of this that is something that we can't control, which is basically like what's happening in China right now with the rating system. You know, you have a personal rating. It's just like in the U.S. and as well as the way as I see it with the credit rating, you know, except for we just hide it better, you know. You can't get a job or you can't apply for this or get that. Well, it's because your credit rating's too low. So there is that kind of mark of the beast, if you will, that you can't buy or sell or trade anything unless you're at a certain status with the numbers. But here it strictly is based on economic behaviors. How many bankruptcies you've filed or how much money you owe, which is understandable. Whereas in China, they're rating you based on if you buy alcohol or cigarettes, for example, your rating goes down. And if you have a low rating there, you can't buy an airline ticket. You can't take the train. You're cut off from all these different types of services, government services. It's not that much different, really, here. It's just that we kind of hide it. But the fact with the CC cameras, that, you know, that they have cameras, millions of cameras I think in Shanghai or you know, Tokyo alone. And here we have the same thing happening. Basically, when you walk into a grocery store or you walk into a mall or you're driving down the street, you're constantly being photographed and filmed. And there are even some stores, I think, I read this thing a couple of years ago about Old Navy or something, how they had this, they were setting up this program where they would scan your face when, you know, when you walk in, your face was scanned, and it reads through Facebook and social media, finds out who you are, and suggests the best things for you. For some people, that might be very useful. It's kind of akin to going on Amazon or anywhere else and having that know your browsing interests. But clearing your cache and you know, not being tracked online and not accepting cookies, I mean, that's still something that we should consider. You know, guess it's once again up to the individual. So, but there are choices we can make as to how to protect our privacy, because especially those of you who are young, say in your 20s right now, you've grown up with this. That's all you know. You don't know what it was like back when we had anonymity. And who knows what kinds of things we are saying online right now that we'll regret in 20, 30 years. In fact, I already know I probably have. You know, put it this way, with my YouTube channel and all the shit I've talked about, really much have no potential for ever running for office or, you know, there's so much dirt, in other words, that can be used against us online that we can make ourselves look horrible. With my, whatever, somewhere up around 3,500, getting around 4,000 videos that I've made, talked about every subject you can imagine, and I just put my privacy aside, because you don't have privacy if you're online and you're choosing to share information. So, but that's my choice, you know, and I'm choosing to do that. And I think it's more important to share information than to have your own privacy. When it comes to, I don't know, certain topics are important. We need to talk about things. It is unfortunate that many people are silenced when they talk about very crucial things within society, you know, the deeper issues, the underlying crap below the surface of us arguing about, you know, little disputes in politics and religion, and there are some serious underlying mechanisms which are annihilating the fabric of human connection, you know, which are taking advantage of us as a whole for the sake of profit. It's just like Amazon I mentioned earlier. They talk about, you know, I guess their thing was that the customer, always think about the customer. It's complete bullshit. You know, they have over 1,000 new accounts put every day from these foreign sellers. They're not monitoring it, they don't care. It all becomes about profit. So many people are getting ripped off through this supposed, the biggest giant, you know, the richest company in the world now, the richest man in the world. What does that tell you about customer service if people are complaining about something like that? It's because everything gets too big, and then people become numbers within business and within government, which means that every one of us is just merely a peon, and the sacrificial lamb is the one who, you know, chooses to speak up, so it keeps a lot of people quiet. Just think about the way that we talk about whistleblowers, as if they're traitors to the country, even if they're revealing information that our own country is spying on us, the citizens. It's a conundrum. Life's a conundrum. And it's hard enough to be a human, but in a constantly emerging, changing technological world where we're kind of at this, on one half trying to move forward and the other half trying to move backwards and kind of go back to the old ways. You know, we know where we want to be, but we just don't know how to get there. So, I don't know. Those are my thoughts on shit. Talk to y'all later.